What's up, guys, and welcome back to Rougefx. Today we're going over GBPJPY, a phenomenal trade entry. I do appreciate every one of you for tuning in. Be sure to like, follow, and share. Without further ado, let's get started. As you can see, looking towards the left, we have little to no price action. We're kind of, in whichever case, adjusting to a, well, let's say price isn't necessarily too keen in on showing its hand with this specific setup, or in whichever case, trade scenario. However, it is important to understand the art in which trading very much provides to the very well seasoned trader, right? In whichever case, how did I get my bullish directional bias besides, a significant trend line? It is very much important to understand that towards the left, we very much do have a bullish pen bar, right? We can very much use the unmitigated wick to kind of measure us out a very significant point of interest, right? In whichever case, we are being presented with a weak low, weak high. How do I know this high is weak? Well, price very much did magnetize towards this specific, in whichever case, structural high, major high in whichever case, but most definitely a weak high. In whichever case, price provided us with a failure to, in whichever case, break a previous high, again establishing a weak high and or essentially a mitigation sequence, right? Back to our significant POI, it is important to understand that our POIs can very much be redefined or rebalanced to the most or highest volume within a specific candlestick, or in this case, shadow, that our point of interest has definitely taken. Now that our point of interest is very much, in whichever case, redefined toward a rebalancing mechanism, it is very much important to realize that our previous fib levels are now irrelevant, which means that we should more than likely adjust it. We are now presented with a weak low, weak high. Now it is important to understand that price did have to rebalance off of this fair value equilibrium. Price did very much continue towards a 3 candle formation, in whichever case a liquidity grab is performed. Price reaches towards the lows, mitigated and unmitigated wick. Now, if I redefine our point of interest towards our rebalancing mechanism and find the nearest, in whichever case, order block that coincides with initially our point of interest or area of interest, it is important to understand, again, that price used this equilibrium fair value to rebalance, continue to expand, reach for internal range liquidity, failure, and then obviously reach for sell stops, or in whichever case, sell side liquidity being a trend line or an inducement. Understanding that, it is a no-brainer to really kind of include this unmitigated wick within our analysis as a significant point of interest or area of the highest volume. We stretch it out. It is very much important to understand that we very much have, in whichever case, our significant POI located. It is very much important to understand that this unmitigated wick is mitigated by a bullish rejection block. Mitigation sequences. It is important to understand that mitigation sequences do very much breed liquidity grabs, whether that be targeting your partial, a minimum reward that is very much set, in whichever this case, a 1 to 7, or very much simply continuing an expansion from our previous leg, in whichever case, expansion, correction, expansion. Understand the markets are very much not perfect. There is nothing that is guaranteed as far as definitely a reward. Therefore, it is important to very much play it safe and just take the money in your face. A lot of the times, most traders, they get very much hyped when, they get their little expansion or maybe even a greater expansion or more of a return than they may have been anticipating, and their greed just gets to them, and it's like, maybe I can get one more, maybe I can. And guys, it's important to understand that very much liquidity grabs do magnetize towards mitigation sequences. So with that being said, if this mitigation sequence is breeding a liquidity grab, understand that we have weak lows below that can very much be triggered, targeted. As you can see, price is already taken out a 3 candle formation. So, not to say that price won't just continue, but there's more than likely the fact that price will very much retrace and very much look for sell side now that buy side has very much been liquidated, rated. Because, guys, it is very much important to understand that as retail is very much buying, pro traders or liquidity traders are very much selling, and then vice versa, right? Because to go along with the institutions, the banks, this and the third, however you want to call it, would be to go against retail, right? So in whichever case where retail would take this short, we would take this buy. When we would take this buy, retail would take this short, and then on and therefore. I do appreciate every one of y'all for tuning in. Until next time on Jody FX.